You did everything right. You went to the doctor, you advocated for yourself, you got the prescription, and then you started hormone therapy and felt worse. Not adjustment worse, not give it a few weeks worse. I mean, anxiety you've never had before, panic attacks, thoughts that won't stop, looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person looking back at you. And now you're wondering if you made a mistake, if this is even for you, or if something is seriously wrong. I want to talk about what's actually happening and why nobody warned you about this part.
Higher, 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 Howard, peace, wellness.
I want to talk about something that I think gets completely glossed over in the conversation about hormone therapy. And that's what happens when you start it and you feel worse. Not a little worse, not adjusting worse. I mean, in an anxious, in a way you've never been, don't recognize yourself, wondering if you're losing your mind worse. I was in a Reddit community recently, the Perimenopause community, which, if you're not in it, I highly recommend it. And a woman posted something that stopped me. She's 40, she's in perimenopause. She started estrogen gel and progesterone. And she said, and I'm paraphrasing, I have never felt this bad in my life. Nonstop anxiety, panic attacks, obsessive thoughts, strange new fears that came out of nowhere. And she said something I think a lot of you will recognize. I feel like I don't recognize myself. And she was asking, is it the estrogen? Is it too much? Am I doing something wrong? I want to sit with that for a second before we get into the how and the why, because I think the emotional experience of that moment deserves more than a quick clinical answer. Again, you finally get to a doctor who takes you seriously. You finally get a prescription. You've done the research, you've advocated for yourself, and you start. And then things get worse. And now you don't know if you should push through or pull back. You don't know if this is a bump or a sign. And you're scared and you're exhausted and you're doing this while you're also trying to just live your life. That is genuinely disorienting. And it makes sense that it's disorienting because nobody prepared you for it. Here's what is actually happening in the body and why this is more common than anyone talks about. Estrogen, when it's working the way it should, has a calming effect on your nervous system. It supports serotonin, it supports GABA, the neurotransmitter that basically tells your brain to stand down. So yes, estrogen can ease anxiety. But here's the thing. Estrogen can also amplify your nervous system response when the dose is off, when you're sensitive to it, or when it isn't balanced enough by progesterone. And for some women particularly, women who are already prone to anxiety or who have nervous systems that are already on high alert from months or years of hormonal fluctuation, adding estrogen can be like turning up the volume on a system that was already too loud. The woman in this post increased her estrogen dose, even just by one pump. And the very next day, she felt like she almost lost her mind. That tracks because estrogen levels that rise too quickly or sit too high without adequate progesterone to balance them can drive exactly the symptoms that she described. The anxiety, the intrusive thoughts, the pressure headaches, the feelings of being outside of your body. These are real physiological responses, not imagined ones, and not a sign that HRT isn't for you. The other piece here is progesterone, specifically how she's taking it. She's on cyclic progesterone, which means she's only taking it for part of the month. So there are days where she has elevated estrogen and little to no estrogen present to counterbalance it. Progesterone, particularly micronized progesterone, has a calming, almost sedative effect on the brain. When it's not there, somehow women feel the absence acutely. That window can feel like its own kind of crisis. None of this means that she needs to stop HRT. It means she's in the middle of the adjustment process, the part that is genuinely hard and nobody talks about it honestly enough. Dosing hormones is not a one and done. It takes time. It takes communication with your provider. It sometimes means going back down before you can go back up. If you are in this place, if you started HRT and something feels off, I want you to track your symptoms by day and by cycle, not vaguely, specifically. What day did you take what dose and what did you feel that day? Bring that record to your doctor. Ask directly whether continuous progesterone might serve you better than cyclic. Ask whether your estrogen dose should come back down before any other adjustments are made. You deserve specific answers, not just reassurance that it'll work out itself. And if your doctor isn't engaging with those questions, that's information too. This is not a simple process, and the fact that it's hard right now does not mean it's not working, and it does not mean that you made the wrong choice. It means you're in the middle of something that requires patience and a provider who is actually paying attention. If this is where you are right now, you started HRT or adjusted your dose and somehow feel worse, I want you to know that what you're experiencing is documented. It's real, and it doesn't automatically mean HRT isn't for you. It might just mean the conversation with your provider isn't over yet. Drop your experience in the comments. I read them, and honestly, some of y'all have said things in the comments section that have gone straight into future videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that, because the next video is going to be about how to actually talk to your provider when something isn't working, which is a skill nobody teaches you and everybody needs. I will see you in the next one.